that are needed, and being able to work with someone who is so like-minded is very, very exciting, and I'm really glad she won and won so big.
Well, New Brunswickers want a government that's going to get things done, and they didn't see that with the last government. They didn't see improvements to their healthcare system. They didn't see improvements to the cost of living. Housing was becoming less and less affordable, and so they want a government that's going to work with anyone and everyone that can help New Brunswickers succeed. And New Brunswickers saw opportunities left on the table with a federal government that wanted to invest in our healthcare system, and our housing system, and our healthcare professionals, and a provincial government that wasn't taking that help. Our team wants to get to work and make a difference quickly, and we know that we have both funds and a partner in Ottawa that wants to help New Brunswickers with their biggest priorities. So they don't have a lot of patience. They want to see us move quickly, and that's what our government's going to do.
Prochaine question, Radio-Canada.
Oui, M. Trudeau, il y a deux questions que vous et le gouvernement Holt semblez peut-être pas tout à fait sur la même
Questions
page.
that your government needs to answer is the carbon tax and immigration. Would you like Ms. Holt and her government to present her plan for the carbon tax adjustment by the next election? And could New Brunswick maintain its immigration levels, or is there a concern? When it comes to carbon pricing, and this is something that all the provinces agreed on years ago, there's a federal backstop. However, all the provinces do have an opportunity to create their own plan if they would like to do so. It's what Quebec has done, as well as British Columbia and other provinces had looked at. The federal government is there to be sure that we can fight climate change and at the same time create economic growth. The federal approach with the carbon tax rebate is putting more money back into the pockets of 8 out of 10 Canadians. But we are always open to work together on this issue in fighting climate change. Furthermore, this is an issue that I know we agree very well with the Premier, because environmental protection and economic growth that comes through that and through being eco-responsible is part of her platform. When it comes to immigration, we do acknowledge that we need to demonstrate that the immigration system is working. We know that there's a lot of pressure on the cost of housing and services because of the number of temporary workers and international students who have come all across the country in the last few months. There's less of an impact in New Brunswick, but we will continue to work together in a thoughtful manner to ensure that, especially in the agricultural sector or fisheries or construction and healthcare, they have enough workers that they need to deliver the services that citizens expect. Next question.
Across Canada, but especially here in the Maritimes, our economy relies on our neighbors south of the border. We rely on exports south of the border from New Brunswick: soft lumber, PEI, potatoes, seafood from all three, so on and so forth. What is your government's plan if President-elect Trump does put in place a 10% tariff on our exports?
7 or 8 years ago, when President Trump first got elected, he was focused on eliminating our NAFTA agreement, ripping up the trade deal that had created incredible prosperity for Canadians and Americans and grown our economy in significant ways. We successfully sat down, renegotiated that accord to protect not just our supply managed sectors, but so many manufacturing sectors across the country. And we even responded to tariffs he brought in with a demonstration that the interdependence of our economies means there are great jobs on both sides of the border that rely on the smooth flow of goods throughout the border. That is going to continue to be the case. We know that even as the Trump administration is significantly concerned about international pressures, particularly overcapacity by China and unfair trade practices by China, Canada is aligned with the United States already, and we're going to be able to do good things together. We were able to make sure that Canada and the United States together were creating good jobs and economic growth on both sides of the border by working as friends and partners, and we're going to do that again.
Prochaine question, Acadie Nouvelle.
Oui, Madame Holt,
Next
vous avez
question.
parlé
For Ms. Holt.
d'occasions laissées sur la table par le
You
précédent
talked about
gouvernement de la
opportunities
province.
left on the
Dans
table with the
votre
previous
campagne,
government.
Vous avez annoncé, promis un système
You've
de
announced
nourriture scolaire et vous aviez
a school
dit que vous
food
étiez
program.
ouverte à signer
And
un
you said
accord
that you
avec
were
le
open to
fédéralisme.
signing an
Vous avez parlé de
agreement
ça
with the federal government. Did you talk about that
Oui, on
today?
a parlé de ça aujourd'hui.
Yes,
parce que
we
c'est
spoke about
clairement
that
une grosse
today.
priorité pour nous
It's
autres,
clearly
et
a
c'est
big
une
priority for
partagée avec
us,
le
and it's a
gouvernement
shared
fédéral.
priority
Alors,
with the
j'ai l'opportunité
federal government.
d'expliquer
So
que
I
nos
did get a
besoins
chance
ici
to
au
explain
Nouveau-Brunswick
our
sont
needs
uniques.
here
On
in
a
New Brunswick and that they're unique.
d'assurer que chaque élève
We
dans
need to
chaque
ensure
école
that every
peut
student in
avoir
every
un
school
petit déjeuner
can have
universel.
access to a
Puis,
universal
nous sommes
breakfast.
prêts à signer un accord pour des
We're
financements du
ready
gouvernement
to
fédéral
sign an
qui
agreement
répond à
for
notre
federal
réalité ici au
funding
Nouveau-Brunswick
that
et de fait
responds
qu'on a
to our
plusieurs
specific
communautés
reality
dans tous
here.
les coins de la province qui ont des
Communities
besoins
across the
différents.
province have different
Alors,
needs.
j'ai hâte de
So I'm eager to sign an agreement with the federal government to make sure that every student in New Brunswick can start off the day at school with a full belly and ready to learn and move on to the rest of their life. So we will be using the federal program for the well-being of our students. I'm so happy to hear that. And it doesn't surprise me at all. First of all, Susan and I spoke about this throughout her campaign. But when I launched the school food program, we did so in a reflective manner. It was one of my colleagues who put forward the private member's bill that schools need a school food program. So I'd like to recognize New Brunswick's leadership and that they're looking to take when it comes to food programs in schools. It's good for students, for parents, it's good for grocery prices, and it's good for the school and community. These are important investments that they're very happy to be making together. We're eager to sign something very soon.
Absolutely. We certainly talked about school food at the meeting today because it was a clear priority during our campaign, and it's a clear need across our province because there are too many students in New Brunswick that are going to school hungry and are struggling to learn because they don't have food in their bellies, and too many teachers that are trying to fill the gap amidst everything else that they have on their plate. So I was pleased to have the opportunity to explain to Prime Minister Trudeau some of the unique realities of New Brunswick and the fact that our current school food program doesn't reach certain schools in the north, doesn't get distributed equitably across the province, and to seek support from the federal government program to fund the need here in New Brunswick in partnership with the provincial government that's ready to make sure that every kid has a chance to learn with a universal school food program that every kid in this province can access.
In our spring budget, we put forward as a core part of the Fairness for Every Generation $1 billion on the table for school food programs across the country. And when we made a concrete announcement around that, I was up in Caracat in the Péninsule with my colleague Serge Cormier, who moved forward with that as a private member's bill over the past years. We are very, very excited about being able to sign with New Brunswick, where the needs are great, but also the leadership and the commitment to supporting young people is very, very much there. We've got a lot to do to get school food programs up and running that'll really impact in the right way young people right across the province, but we're looking forward to signing very soon.
Next question goes to Global.
Yes, one moment, please. Prime Minister, hoping we could get your reaction to the statement from Ontario Premier Doug Ford that Mexico has effectively become a backdoor to Chinese imports and that they should be frozen out of the U.S. market and out of NAFTA when that is renegotiated.
Just about all of our partner democracies around the world have expressed varying degrees of concern about Chinese overcapacity, around unfair trade practices that the Chinese economy is inflicting on the world. And we're all working in different ways to try and prevent that. We move forward with significant tariffs on steel and aluminum to protect steel and aluminum workers in Canada from Chinese overcapacity. We're going to continue to work with partners like the United States and hopefully Mexico as well to make sure that we are united in our desire to protect good jobs that are more responsible around the environment than they are in China, more responsible around labor practices and supporting families in meaningful ways. There's lots of work to be doing, and that's, I know, a big topic of conversation that we're going to have with the new American administration in the coming months.
Pouvez-vous répéter ça en français?
Partout à travers le monde, les démocraties, les
Across the
économies,
world, democracies
comme
and
les nôtres
economies
sont
such as
préoccupées
ours
par,
are
les actions
concerned.
de la Chine au
They're
niveau
concerned
de la
about actions
surcapacité,
by
au
China
niveau,
in terms of
des,
overcapacity
pratiques économiques et
and their
commerciaux
economic
injustes,
and
que la
commercial
Chine est en train
practices.
d'utiliser. C'est pour ça d'ailleurs qu'on a mis en place des tarifs
This is
sur l'acier,
specifically
sur l'aluminium,
why
sur les véhicules
we've put
électriques,
tariffs on
provenant, de la
steel,
Chine,
aluminum,
parce que
and
on veut protéger
EVs
nos
from
travailleurs.
China
Je
because
sais
we're
que
seeking to
c'est
protect our workers.
une préoccupation
I know
que
that this is a
partage,
concern,
le gouvernement américain.
a concern that the U.S. government also shares, current and future. And we'll continue to work together to make sure that we're aligned in what we're doing. We'll keep working with Mexico as well to underscore our priorities, and I hope that we'll be able to get to the right solution. But I know that we will be able to protect the Canadian workers and economy.
So this has all been very friendly, talking about you working together, everything's great. You were talking about affordability issues. So one issue you two didn't agree on last year was the carbon tax. Premier Holt wrote you and said, we need a one-year pause on this. Like Premier Holt, I'd like to hear from you whether you now think that New Brunswickers can afford another increase in the carbon tax, and Prime Minister, whether you'd be interested in hearing that conversation.
As I said, one of the things we agree on is that you can't build a strong economy unless you're protecting the environment, and that's something that the Premier was very, very clear on. The backstop that the federal government brought in puts more money in the pockets of 8 out of 10 Canadians across the country with the Canada Carbon Rebate, but every province is open to creating its own system that reaches the same level of stringency and impact. And I look forward to working with her on how we make sure that we're protecting the environment and creating a strong economy as we support New Brunswickers through what is a challenging time in the world.
Well, New Brunswickers continue to struggle with the rising cost of living. That hasn't changed with the outcome of an election, and so we are absolutely focused on making life more affordable for New Brunswickers. That's why we're going to be removing the Higgs gas tax that they're currently paying, those extra 4 cents at the pump, as soon as we can return to the legislature. We have other initiatives in mind to continue to decrease the cost of living for New Brunswickers, and we need a plan that reflects the reality in New Brunswick of the fact that we don't have the same kind of public transportation opportunities. We don't have the same kind of opportunities to bike to work because when you're living in Saint-Sauveur, that's not an option. You can't get to the hospital that way. You won't find, you have to go to the gas station and you have to fill up the tank if you want to get your health taken care of and if you want to get to work. And so we're really conscious of the price that New Brunswickers are paying, and we want to make sure that that it's an appropriate price that reflects the reality here. So that's what we're continuing to work on.
So would you think about your own plan?
That's what we've said consistently, Andrew. We're going to put forward a Made in New Brunswick climate plan that recognizes the realities here in New Brunswick, what New Brunswickers can do, how we incentivize them to change behavior, not just penalize them when they don't have any other options. So that's work that the department is doing now. We look forward to getting that plan ready, and I appreciate the Prime Minister is prepared to receive it, and as he has with other provinces, let provinces do their own thing as long as they meet an appropriate stringency level. So that's what we're striving for.
It's interesting, actually. The province of New Brunswick had a Made in New Brunswick plan, and then Premier Higgs decided to scrap it because he wanted to blame the federal government for what he was doing. It was a purely crassly political play. It's great to have someone who deeply believes in not just protecting the environment, but helping with affordability in tangible, concrete ways. And I know there's lots we're going to be able to do together on that and on a range of things.
Thank you, everyone.